What happens when the best power hitter in baseball also happens to be one of the best defensive players in the game? In the early 1980s, Mike Schmidt gave us that answer. Between 1980 and 1981, Mike Schmidt won back to back National League MVP awards, hit more home runs than anyone in baseball, posted the highest OPS in the majors, won a World Series, and continued to play Gold Glove defense at third base. During those two seasons, Mike Schmidt wasn't just the best third baseman in baseball, he had a huge argument as the best player for the entire league. Over those 2 years, Mike Schmidt led the majors with 79 home runs and produced the highest OPS in baseball by a comfortable margin. He combined elite power, patience, defense, and leadership while helping Philadelphia capture its first World Series championship. Very few players in baseball history have dominated every aspect of the game the way Mike Schmidt did during his MVP seasons. By 1980, Mike Schmidt was already one of baseball's biggest stars. He had led the National League in home runs 3 times during the 1970s and had established himself as one of the game's premier third basemen. However, the Phillies had repeatedly fallen short in October. The talent was there, but the championships, not so much. That finally changed in 1980. Mike Schmidt put together the best season of his career, hitting 286 with 48 home runs, 121 RBIs, and a 1004 OPS. He led the National League in home runs, RBIs, walks, slugging percentage, OPS, and total bases. His 48 home runs were especially impressive considering the offensive environment of the early 1980s. Offense around baseball was considerably lower than it would be become in later decades, making Mike Schmidt's power numbers stand out even more. Nobody in the National League hit more home runs. Nobody had a higher OPS. Pitchers knew he was the biggest threat in the Phillies lineup, yet they still couldn't stop him. What made Mike Schmidt such a dangerous hitter wasn't just his power, he had excellent plate discipline and understood the strike zone extremely well. He consistently drew walks and forced pitchers into difficult counts. If they challenged him, he could hit the ball out of the park. If they pitched around him, he would gladly take first base. His combination of patience and power made him one of the most complete hitters in baseball. The Phillies finished with 91 wins and captured the National League East. In the postseason, they survived a difficult National League Championship Series against the Houston Astros before advancing to the World Series against Kansas City. Mike Schmidt delivered on the biggest stage. He hit a 381 average during the World Series and was named World Series MVP as Philadelphia won the first championship in franchise history. After years of playoff disappointments, Mike Schmidt finally helped bring a title to the city. For many players, winning one MVP represents the peak of their careers. Mike Schmidt somehow followed it with another iconic season. The 1981 season was shortened by a player strike, reducing the schedule to just 102 games for Mike Schmidt. Despite the fewer games, he remained the most dominant player in the National League. He hit a 316 average with 31 home runs, 91 RBIs, and an incredible 1,080 OPS. Once again, he led the National League in home runs, slugging percentage, OPS, and offensive production. If his numbers are projected over a full season, Mike Schmidt was on pace for nearly 45 to 50 home runs and around 145 RBIs. The early 1980s were not a high offensive era. Pitching was strong, ballparks were larger, and power numbers across the league were lower. Mike Schmidt's production becomes even more impressive when viewed in that context. He wasn't putting up big numbers because everyone was hitting. He was putting up numbers nobody else could match. Another reason Mike Schmidt's peak was so special was his defense. Many sluggers contribute little in the field, but Mike Schmidt was one of the greatest defensive third basemen in baseball history. He possessed outstanding reactions, excellent footwork, tremendous range, and one of the strongest arms in baseball. He could charge fat bunts, make difficult throws from the foul line, and turn hard hits into outs. Third base is one of the most difficult defensive positions in baseball because of the reaction time required. Mike Schmidt handled it at an elite level. He won the Gold Glove in 1980 and 1981, and he eventually captured 10 Gold Gloves during his career. His defense added tremendous value to his overall game, while other stars contributed primarily with their bat. Mike Schmidt impacted games offensively and defensively every night. Only 3 players have won MVP and Gold Glove in the same season multiple times: Johnny Bench, Barry Bonds, and Mike Schmidt. Think about the company Mike Schmidt is in. Barry Bonds is arguably the greatest offensive player in baseball history. Johnny Bench is widely considered the greatest catcher ever. Mike Schmidt belongs in that group because he mastered both sides of the game. Many players can hit, many players can field, very few players can be elite at both. Mike Schmidt was one of those players. His leadership also mattered. The Phillies were filled with veteran stars, but Mike Schmidt was the centerpiece of the franchise. His production set the tone for the entire team. Opposing pitchers built their entire game plan around him. When the Phillies needed a big hit, they looked to Mike Schmidt. When they needed a defensive play, they looked to Mike Schmidt. Looking back, the 1980 and 1981 seasons elevated Mike Schmidt from superstar to all-time great. But these 2 seasons cemented his legacy. He won back-to-back MVPs. He led baseball in home runs. He posted the highest OPS in the majors. He won a World Series championship, World Series MVP, of course. He played Gold Glove caliber defense. When discussing the greatest peaks by a third baseman, Mike Schmidt's 1980 and 1981 seasons belong near the very top of the list. Few players have ever combined power, patience, defense, leadership, and championship success at such a high level. So that'll be it for this video. Leave a comment, tell me what you think. I much appreciate it if you click that like button. Thank you for watching.